What up, Bulls Nation? Peck here. We got a live CHGO Bulls pregame coming up right around the corner. Bulls back home taking on the Portland Trail Blazers tonight, trying to avenge that loss from back in January. Who's in, who's out? We've got a Lonzo Ball update for you. Sadly, he won't play tonight, but could be soon. Plus, we'll take a look at what the Blazers have been doing. They look pretty good after the All-Star break. Coming up next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls pregame. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bam, bam. BNWL Sports. Uncle Will, four-time NBA champ. Will_Perdue 32. And the queen of the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. What up, Katie?
Hi.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Hey,
ready for some hoops?
Happy Friday, man. How's it going?
I'm great.
We're Perdue. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I am crossing my fingers that we get to watch the Bulls try to take down Deni Avdija tonight.
Yes.
Because he's not so average lately.
He is not.
He was a late add to the injury report. We're still waiting to hear. He's a game-time decision. I want to watch him play tonight.
Yeah, I've enjoyed messing with my man C-Red Fred about him because he and I used to debate about him when he got drafted, and I told him he could play, and he was like, no, he's trash.
Fred's the one who coined Deni Avdija, right?
Which is gold.
Great.
Which is gold, by the way. But no, when he got to Portland, like, it just really kind of clicked for him. And, I mean, you read me those numbers that he's averaging, man. Like, he has just really just been outstanding for Portland. So, yeah, I'm very happy for him, man.
They are shorthanded. We will get to that Blazers injury report. Let's start with the Bulls, though. It sounded after Bulls shoot-around this morning, in which, according to Casey Johnson tweet, Lonzo was a full participant. It sounded like he might play tonight.
Yeah.
Then, when they hear from Billy Donovan in his pregame media availability, turns out Lonzo will not play tonight. This is a Billy quote from our very own Will to Go Gottlieb regarding Lonzo. Quote, there's still some things he doesn't feel like he can do. Billy also said that no one has said to me we're going to have to shut him down for the season, essentially. Casey also adding a detail with a different tweet saying, no setback with Lonzo, still just not comfortable with the shot on his follow-through. He will, however, travel with the Bulls on their upcoming 2-game trip to Charlotte and then Cleveland. So won't see Lonzo out there tonight, could still see him before the regular season concludes.
Yeah, I hope we do. From what we heard from him last time, it didn't sound like we needed to see him anytime soon. So I'm okay with him taking as much time as he possibly needs so he does not feel pain in his wrist when he's out there. So when he said his goal was to be ready for the play-in, that's honestly how I took everything. I didn't worry about, how many games he was going to be beforehand or anything like that. I was just like, okay, he says the play-in, it's going to be the play-in. So maybe a game or two before that. I think Philly is the last game of the season.
Yep,
13th. So, yeah, maybe he'll be back for that one to go ahead and play. But, no, in general, as long as he's back and he's healthy and he does not feel pain, yes, I would like to see him return. But until then, please take your time, sir.
I look at it twofold. One, I would like them to have him back for the play-in.
Yeah.
I think we just have to accept the fact that they're not intentionally trying to lose games.
No,
they're in.
So if that is the case, then you put yourself in your best position to play, and that means he needs to be part of the rotation.
Right.
But at the same time, not us, but he needs assurances mentally, but also from the medical staff that he can't do. It's more about pain tolerance than it is he could possibly do long-lasting damage.
Yeah.
Right. So we were actually talking about that on our show, Wednesday?
Yes.
Because Billy did give an update at practice, and the way he was describing it, it kind of sounded like Lonzo could, re-aggravate it, so to speak. It's a sprained wrist, and that might involve, inflammation coming back or swollenness or whatever, but that it is not, according to the team's doctors and medical staff, something where if he plays through some mild discomfort or mild pain, and the swelling comes back because he plays, it is not something that would significantly high risk, like do damage, like structural damage. It would just be, well, he has a full offseason to recover from this. And it's a little bit worse, but not, oh my God, worse.
And that's the key part. Please, no more pain.
Because if there was any level of risk of him
God.
doing structural damage to this wrist in these last 6 regular season games, or even the play-in tournament,
sit down.
You just signed the dude to be here for 2 more years.
There's a seat. Grab it.
Right.
Sit and chill, please.
Yeah.
I don't need to see him do it
Eco Bean
anymore.
saying, so is out of rhythm with these new Bulls. See you next season.
I'm cool with that.
But I also do agree with what Will just said, which is, from Billy's perspective, from the Bulls' perspective, you're going to go try and win these 2, maybe 1 play-in games to go to the playoffs. Lonzo would help them do that.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever pain he's playing through, whatever percentage health he is.
Yeah.
Some version of Lonzo is better than no Lonzo when you're talking about this Bulls rotation.
And also,
Absolutely. But again, it's not worth his long-term health for him to come back if he could do significant damage or even, structural damage, which could then make it an issue, moving forward, meaning deal with it next year, the following year, and then that's something that, he may need to have major surgery when he finally finishes playing.
Yeah, and when we were talking about this Wednesday, I also brought up the point that it started making me concerned about Trey Jones and his injury, because they said they were going to reevaluate after 2 weeks, and then those 2 weeks, and they're like, yeah, he's still hurt. And it just makes me concerned about how long he's going to be out if you're really trying to push Lonzo to get him back in, because, he was the, perfect replacement for Lonzo while he got ready. But now it feels like they're like, no, we need somebody. We need somebody else to get out there and run this position, man. It just makes me worried about him.
That's a good point, because it's, all indications is that Trey will be back for the play-in.
Yeah.
As Matt and I, when we were talking on the phone earlier today, talking about topics, initially the diagnosis was approximately 2 weeks, where we're in that window now, but yet no news.
None.
Not he's ramping it up, not he should be ready to play in the next day or so, not it's just nothing.
Nothing.
So that to me means that he's still
radio silence.
He's still got a ways to go.
Yeah, it's concerning.
Trey Jones, speaking of, is officially not playing for the Bulls tonight. Javon Carter, Julian Phillips, and Dalen Terry, all of whom have missed a game here or there recently with various injuries, are available. And the Bulls starting 5 is one we've come to see frequently. Coby and Giddey, Kevin Huerter, Modest, and Vooch. So that's who is in and available for the Bulls. Meanwhile, I mentioned we're still waiting on a game-time decision on Deni Avdija, but this Blazers team has been snake-bitten by injuries. Jeremy Grant is out. Scoot Henderson, who had a big game for them when they beat the Bulls in January, is out. Robert Williams III, a.k.a. Time Lord, is out. DeAndre Ayton is out. Yeah. We're still waiting on some game-time decisions. In addition to Avdija, Anthony Simons is questionable. Tamani Kamara, who's been really strong for them, especially on the defensive end, is a game-time decision with an ankle. CD Sissoko, doubtful if a game-time decision at all with an ankle. Duop Reith, another young guy who's played meaningful minutes for them as their season has progressed. Questionable game-time decision with a knee. This is a banged-up Portland team, and yet in spite of all of these various injuries, they are 11-11 after the All-Star break. They are similar, like very similar team to the Bulls. Younger team, kind of shifting gears and directions. Nobody expected them to win this season, and they haven't won much this season. Right. But after the All-Star break, they've started to kind of find some various chemistry and are on a bit of a roll. Yeah,
they won their last 2 as well, beating the Hawks and beating the Raptors yesterday. Yeah, destroy it. So I'm curious to see what that looks like, man. Like, I really am, because I haven't seen them without these guys. But like Matt says, they're still playing well. I big up to Chauncey Billups and just how he's got these guys in line and got them right mentally to get out there and perform and believe in themselves, because that is a powerful thing, as I'm sure you know, Will. Like, the belief of a guy and the confidence of a guy can raise and kind of elevate his game to be a better player out there. And I'm seeing that every time I watch Portland play, like certain dudes just balling out. I mean, Deni Avdija probably is the best example of this. You know, like, I like them, but dude, damn near 30 a game and 11 rebounds. Like, come on, man, that's crazy. And 6 assists, you said?
Yeah.
That's insane. So, Yeah, man. Like
some guys just need a chance.
Some guys need a chance or a change of scenery. You know what I'm saying? Or the right coach to get up in their brain and fix some things. So it's working for them. Like I said, they won yesterday. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that some of these guys are going to be out.
It is also, by the way, the second night of a back-to-back for Portland. Shout out to them. Got to win.
Yeah.
They are neck and neck with the Bulls in those tankathon standings.
They're right there.
At the end of a substantially long road trip.
Yes.
So the Blazers are one game away from going home and are tired and beat up.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I know they're tired, but they got one more game to play, and the Bulls will be ready for them, too.
Well, let's hope they're ready, but this is a perfect scenario then.
Okay.
I mean, Matt, you basically just echoed what the coaches were probably talking about in their preparation for this game. And this is the league in a nutshell.
Okay.
Right? When you look at, as a player, you look at a schedule. Like, you look at your schedule and you're like, and then you initially look at it and you're like, oh, okay, here's a tough section here, a 4 and 5 nights. Here's another tough section. But then you start to break it down to be like, okay, when all these Western teams come in, what's their schedule?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are we at the beginning of their trip? Are we at the back of their trip? Are we in the middle of their trip? But for a fact that everybody in that Bulls locker room knows that this is the last game of a trip for a beat-up Portland team. Mm-hmm. The coaches have mentioned it. The players know it. This is where their mindset should be from the tip, foot on gas, get rid of these guys early, be done with it, move on. Mm-hmm. And that's where I like to break it down in the sense, all right, let's see what the mindset is of this team. Are they just going to kind of go through the motions and then turn the gas on at the end and unfortunately, have a bunch of these guys play 30-plus minutes? Or are they going to be in the right mind frame where they're foaming at the mouth at the tip? Put this team down, put them out. Because here's the other part that scares you. Do I think the Bulls are going to lose? Absolutely not. Is there a chance they could lose? Yeah, but maybe, in my opinion, 5%.
Oh, mm-hmm.
But the question is, and I know Billy's thinking about this, when you got a bunch of guys on the other side of the court that don't get a chance to play a lot, and now this is their opportunity.
Show out.
They could make it living hell for you.
Yeah, that's real.
Because at the end of the day, I played on a team that went 20-62, and we played balls to the wall every night.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about making it difficult for somebody to win, right? But at the same time, mentally, what you have to do, meaning this Portland team knows that they got to come out and play another game, but physically your body is just like, not tonight, baby. So you see effort. You see a team playing hard, but just no results, right? And it doesn't happen because they're on this trip. They're banged up. They're physically beat up, but they're mentally fatigued. They're emotionally drained. Yeah. And if you take them out of the game early, they will shut it down.
Well, let me ask you, how do you respond if your body and your mind are both telling you, not today, Perdue, we ain't happening?
Well, back in Uncle Will's day, I believe it was just a horse tranquilizer shot of some kind,
I thought it was a shot of brandy.
Giant needle
like
pain tolerance injection.
What did they give horses?
Get back out there.
Slap them on the hands.
Johnny Bach had that cattle prod that was plugged into the wall because it was electric.
Oh, shit.
But it was one of those situations, though, where you're just like, okay, what can I do tonight? Yeah. How can I try to help us win? And knowing how, the hard part is that, like Matt and I were having the conversation about the pace.
Mm-hmm.
And if we will play our pace, this team will be limping and exhausted by the time they get to halftime.
Mm.
And rightfully so. I was about to say Chauncey should be given a lot of credit considering this team's going 500.
Yeah.
But he's smart enough to realize that. He'll throw up the white flag. He'll clear his bench and be done with it.
Okay.
But if you're keeping it within 10 or less, he's gonna keep pushing these guys. Come on, guys, get over the hump, man. We're done after this game. Keep going, man. You never know. This team might go on an 0 for 5 slide, miss 5 straight buckets or have a couple turnovers, have 5 empty possessions. We knock down a 3, maybe you get a foul. All of a sudden, this 12-point deficit's down to 6. And now all of a sudden, coaches talk about this in the huddle. All of a sudden their ass starts to pucker because they know that they're supposed to win. in this. We got a ball game on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
You heard him, Katie. He ain't stutter.
And we do have a couple more rulings. Anthony Simons is out, will not play, but the Blazers' hero of late, Deni Avdija, is active and will play.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Which means I believe they will, as you were just saying. I think they do keep it close.
Oh, okay.
The Blazers keep it close.
Okay.
They're certainly capable of keeping it close.
This is true.
I mean, it's not like the Bulls have been running away from teams while they've been playing better after the All-Star break. They did run away from the Blazers, the Raptors the other night.
They did.
After taking care of that quick, 10-point deficit in the first quarter, because the Raptors were letting them. I think that's what it's all about. I think do the Blazers still, the last game of their road trip, the second night of a back-to-back, have juice left to say we're going to go try to win this game, and they will have Deni Avdija available in those efforts. The Blazers I mentioned have been a much better team after the All-Star break. Their plus 2.6 net rating post All-Star break is the 12th best mark in the NBA. Their defense is the 7th best defense in the 22 games they've played after the All-Star break. And when you were talking about dictating pace just a minute ago, Uncle Will, yes, the Bulls are still tops in the league. They are comfortably the number one spot in possessions per 48 after the All-Star break. They've kept that pace up. Blazers are a middle-of-the-pack team from an offensive pace standpoint, 13th in the NBA at 99.8. The Bulls are somewhere up around like 104, right? But there are a couple of things that the Blazers do well that could dictate whether or not the Bulls can do what they like to do, which is get out and run.
Yeah.
The Blazers have the second best offensive rebounding percentage in the NBA after the All-Star break, 35.7% offensive rebounding percentage. Massive. Shout out Spathis.
Massive.
The Bulls will have a harder time getting out on the break and in those transition opportunities if they do not protect the glass.
True.
Then the other thing, the Blazers have been good at forcing turnovers from their opponents. The Bulls like to play fast. Sometimes that leads to turnover problems. The Blazers have the second best opponent turnover percentage mark in the NBA after the All-Star break. Okay. So the Bulls have got to be careful in those two areas if they want to keep the pace and dictate this game.
That's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure some of that is because, you have DeAndre Ayton, you know what I'm saying, those kind of guys, and Time Lord and things like that. But, the numbers are what they are. Having Deni Avdija out there is big because Avdija kind of plays with that same spark that Giddey plays with. Like, he is going constantly. Like, it is balls to the wall for a guy like Deni Avdija, but it's a little more controlled with him. But it's still a constant motion. So, yeah, they're going to need rebounds and going to need offensive rebounds to stay in this game because especially with the Bulls, like Matt mentioned, trying to run and just run their ass out the gym and try to get it over with by halftime. But I don't think the Bulls are good enough to have that mentality yet to say we're just going to get this done by halftime. They have to have that four-quarter mentality where they're just trying to win all the time, which is what's been working for them so well because when they get to that fourth quarter and teams are just, dead tired and the Bulls still have that energy. So I think that is the mindset they should be having. But, yeah, Portland has a shot. They're missing some guys, but they do have a shot, even though it's 5% to main man Will Perdue. They still got a shot, though.
But I think something I thought of that we haven't talked about yet is that Billy's got to find a way to kind of taper Coby's minutes.
Okay. What's the reasoning?
Because look at how many minutes he's played. Look at the pace that they've played at all year. You go back and look at how many games. Sometimes you don't pick it up on TV as much as you do in person. But Coby's been exhausted a lot late in games.
That's true.
I mean, bent over, hands on knees.
Yeah.
He's even talked about it. Now, do I think he's in much better shape than he was last year? Yeah, because he addressed it and he knew what he had to do now coming in.
Talked about conditioning.
Playing all those minutes. But at the same time, if you want to get your best opportunity to win, the biggest thing most players want is they want to be able to continue to play and stay in rhythm.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way to kind of, reduce their minutes a little bit, and I'm not saying by a lot, but instead of, what does Coby average, like 35, 36?
So last season when he talked about I've never played this many minutes before in my career, he was at 36.5 minutes per game in a season in which he played 79 games. Right now he is at 69 games played this season, averaging 33.3. So he is down by about 3 minutes compared to last season.
But also this is unlike last season, they're playing at a much faster pace for all 48.
Yes.
We knew last year that was basically how they played their pace for the first half.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the ball started to stick in DeMar's hands.
I believe the Bulls were somewhere like 24th, 26th in pace last season.
Right. But I think that, and I'm not saying you got to drop him down to 20, but I think, they're never going to talk about this in public, but I think they would like to try to keep him around 25 for the last 6 games to allow him to stay in rhythm, keep the ball in his hands, right? Like Matt and I were talking about on the phone, work on some rotation combinations.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing now that we want to ask ourselves as we get closer to these play-in games. Does this type of offense and this type of pace carry over, and is it going to be as effective in the playoffs as it has been in the regular season?
Well, as we were chatting and you were asking, like, does Billy use this final, 6 games against some pretty beatable collective opponents to try to really iron out what he wants his rotation to be for these winner-go-home play-in tournament games? And if he does, then I feel like that's sort of conflicting with let's try and taper Coby's minutes to give him a little bit of a rest so that he's fresh for said play-in tournament games, because it's not like you're only going to play Coby 25. Coby's probably going to play 40 minutes in the play-in tournament games.
He's going to be out there, bro.
So,
it's
how do you try, if you're Billy Donovan, to figure out, okay, these are my 8 or these are my 9 or this is my 8.5-man rotation that I feel comfortable using in the play-in tournament, while also maybe getting, some minutes shaved off for key guys so that they are fresh?
It's kind of like NFL. The first half is what's important, okay? And that way, because if Coby plays and you do the rotations the way you want to, like in a regular game, Coby should probably be, right around 18 to 20 minutes in that first half.
Okay.
So then you play the first 5 or 6, 7 minutes in the third, and hopefully you don't have to play him anymore because you're playing well enough that you can kind of taper that. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to have a game where he plays 38 or 39 because, unfortunately, the team as a whole is not playing well, and then they have to really lean on him to carry the weight offensively. But if that's the case, then I would love to have them say, hey, we're even going to give him a game off to kind of reset and then get that rhythm back 2 games later, but again at that mark. The thing is, what we don't know yet is, after that game on the 13th against Philly, do you play Tuesday or do you play Wednesday?
Yeah.
So do you get 1-day rest or you get 2-day rest?
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And now, it's still up in the air. Are the Bulls going to be in that 9-10 matchup? Or can they jump up to the 7-8 matchup?
Yeah.
Based on how the standings look right now, it's certainly possible, because the 9-10 play-in games happen first, and then the 7-8 game happens, and then winner plays loser.
Right.
So, yeah,
they still got too many questions to answer.
Unanswered questions.
For it to be, already known if Coby is going to get those kind of minutes or not, because they still don't know. They still got to play the Heat again, man, and that's going to be a huge game for them when they play.
That quite honestly is a statement game.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to win that game.
Yeah.
Or you have to play well enough to where you're just not, bowing out and letting them beating you.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're playing that game to win it, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
But if you don't win, it's a game where you send a message that we're not afraid of you. B, we know we can beat you.
Right.
It's going to take an incredible effort on your part to where you guys have to play. It's kind of ironically, what do we always talk about? What team can play closer to their B game and still win? In my opinion, that scenario is now flipped. Used to be the Heat had more room for error than the Bulls. Sure. I think like the Bulls team now have more room for error than the Heat.
Interesting.
You might be right on that, especially like if the Bulls offensively have a couple of things going and one thing, like the threes aren't falling, but they get to the free throw line, or it's a modest night behind the arc, but they're really careful and they're protecting the ball well. Like, I think there is some room for error there. And to the Bulls' credit, that's another thing they've done well after the All-Star break. I think they're top 5 in the NBA in limiting turnovers after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Another big reason why they have been winning these games.
Huge.
But speaking of getting the free throw line, obviously we're excited to see this crazy hot Deni Avdija play tonight, and the challenge that will be for the Bulls defensively. as far as Coby getting the free throw line, Josh getting the free throw line, a big part of what the Bulls have been doing offensively, in addition to their fast pace of play that has worked. Donovan Clingan, their rookie out of UConn, 7th overall in the 24 draft class. He started slow, not as slow as Modest. I mean, like minutes and role on the team wise. Right. But he has started all 21 games for them post All-Star break compared to only 11 starts pre-All-Star break. And he has started to see some more, not only increased minutes, but an increased role and efficiency in that role. Shout out to this that I was reading about a bunch of the rookie class from our friends at No Ceilings, who we do a lot of draft talk with. Shout out. Donovan Clingan, the rookie, is in the 94th percentile among all NBA centers in opponent's field goal percentage at the rim. 94th percentile at being a rim protector his rookie year. Can the Bulls, Coby and Josh primarily, still get downhill and draw fouls and get to the free throw line while Clingan is the deterrent? Because no Ayton, no Time Lord. It'll be cool to see them go up against that rookie who has been a very strong rim protector this season.
Yeah, and that will always get you on the floor, especially as a rookie, is your defense. It's what's got Modest on the floor, honestly, was his help defense, and then obviously his other tools that he had came to fruition, and he's just balling out. But Clingan was that kind of guy coming in, out of UConn. He was one of the guys I really liked because his game was already kind of developed. You already kind of knew what he was. And so that's a great thing for NBA GM, going in knowing what you're actually getting. It's why Zach Edey got drafted so high by Memphis, because they knew what he was and they knew what their team needed immediately. So Clingan is just a great piece as far as defensively. When you got two guys back there, it makes it even better. But I think he can hold his own. But we will find out, because they will attack some more, because that is Giddey's offense. That has become kind of Coby's offense also. And we all know Vooch down there in the post is nothing to play with. Like, he's a problem down there. So can that young fella stay out of foul trouble, stay down on some things, because those veteran moves are coming. They're on the way.
On the way.
On the way. Tell my wife I'm on the way.
Up and under.
Somebody just asked, but does Clingan have more blocks than Modest? I believe he does. Clingan has 101 total blocks on the season. Per 36, he's at 3.1 blocks per 36 minutes. I'm wondering what Modest is in that regard. Modest has total 66 blocks this season. Per 36 minutes, he's at 1.8. So, yes, as exciting as Modest's rim protection has been, his weak side help blocks, his chase down blocks, his recovery blocks, Clingan has been substantially better.
Yeah, he's been good.
And speaking of substantially better, let's take a look real quick at those Deni Avdija numbers improving from before the All-Star break. So on the left, his 24-25 body of work as a whole, he is still putting up career-high numbers in points per game at 16.5, shooting 47.5, 36.7, 77.9, shooting splits, 7.2 rebounds per game, also a career high, 3.9 assists per game, also a career high. And those are his season numbers. Then you look at what he's doing after the All-Star break, 22.5 per game on 51, 42.5, 78 shooting splits, nearly 10 boards a game, and 5 dimes.
See, you like that because you're seeing what he's doing as his season has gone. So a bump in that is not just like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? What's he doing? Like, no, he's been pretty consistent in how he's been playing all season. This is just the next step and where you want it to go when you're doing something like that, man. I'm really happy for him, man, because I really thought he could play coming out. Like, I really thought he had something. So it's just good to see it kind of click for him.
And, so that's his post All-Star break numbers. His last 4 games collectively, he's averaging 28.8 on 54.5, 39, 87.
It's pretty good.
And he is getting to the free throw line a lot in this post All-Star break stretch of games, significantly more than he has done at any point previous in his career. All right, before we get out of here, let's get to our Bet365 pregame picks.
Money Will Perdue.
Pregame picks brought to you by Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So I sent these to Katie earlier today when I was looking, and the line was the Blazers at plus 5.5. It has since shifted to 6.5. Give me the 6.5 at minus. I believe it's plus 6.5 at minus 110, as opposed to 5.5, 105 earlier today. I think even with all the injuries, Avdija's playing. Yes, it's the last game of their road trip. Dude, the Bulls aren't a team to just put a team away. I'm sorry. I think the Blazers are a better team than the Raptors.
Yeah.
They have been playing a better brand of basketball than the Raptors recently.
Yeah.
I think they can keep it close. So give me the Blazers and the points, especially now that it's been pushed to 6.5. And then I decided to have a really fun same game parlay. I haven't done a same game parlay in a while.
For who?
For me.
Okay.
We talked about the Blazers forcing turnovers. They're also a team that turns the ball over a lot. They are 28th in the NBA protecting the basketball after the All-Star break, even despite the fact that they have been playing better and winning more.
Okay.
The Bulls have their own turnover issues. Josh Giddey's turnovers have crept back up recently. So I made an assists and turnovers parlay with Avdija and Josh Giddey. Give me over 2.5 turnovers for Giddey, over 3.5 turnovers for Avdija, who is 7 in each of his last 2 games, and like 20 in his past 4 games.
That sounds right.
And then they are facilitating. You saw Avdija's assist numbers are higher. Give me Avdija to get 5 or more assists, and give me Giddey to get 10 or more assists. You put those 4 things together, and you're looking at a plus 600 odds parlay. Why not? Let's have some fun.
Got yourself a stew going.
I want to watch some crazy, fast-paced, sloppy basketball.
This is jam. This is jam right there.
How's your when I left last week, you were on a little roll.
Yes, primarily betting on the madness of March.
Right.
And I, obviously the frequency of those games. So I took a little break. We got Final Four on deck tomorrow. But also some NBA. Oh, I cashed big betting on the Bulls when they were down 10 to Toronto in the first quarter. And I mean, anybody could have seen that one coming.
Not just a hat.
So yes, not as much of an aggressive downhill on a roll, but yeah, I'm still taking that 150 in bonus bets that Bet365 gave us, and I am cooking with it.
Cooking with gas.
That's right. Shout out again to Bet365. Must be 21 and older. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. So there are the pregame picks. Oh, let's see if that parlay can hit. It's always fun when a parlay hits.
Yeah.
We are past the 7 o'clock hour Central Time. That means means tip off is
Tip
right
off.
around the corner.
Tip it off.
Bulls, half game back of Miami.
Yeah.
Could pull back ahead of them with a win tonight, owning that tiebreaker head-to-head with the Heat. Pow. Meanwhile, the Blazers, 1 win shy of the Bulls. Tankathon standings also very much in play tonight.
Big game, man.
We will see you for postgame. Make sure you're following our guy, Will Gottlieb, for his in-game reporting. Will_Gottlieb. We will talk to him in postgame as well. You'll find us right back here on that CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Hit the like on your way out if you haven't done it yet.
Smack it.
Shout out to the one and only Queen. We'll talk to you for postgame. See you right again.
Love y'all. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.